All right, Crypt Nation, how are we doing? You guys know what time it is. It's crypto market update time. No, I'm not in my usual spot. You guys know I'm typically, on my desk or I'm walking around through the neighborhood. But today, I'm actually in Kevin's backyard. So Kevin's our business partner, and we're over here doing a bunch of meetings. And really nice little backyard here. But I wanted to come at you guys with a quick market update because there's been a lot of things kind of going on, right? So as we talked about yesterday, Bitcoin has bottomed out, right? And it's at the end of its correction. And I'm expecting a very sharp rotation up. And that's on the back of this news that Taproot is going to be activated on November 11th, I believe, or maybe it was November 14th, one of those dates. And Taproot is the biggest upgrade to the Bitcoin network, right, since 2017 when they did segregated witness. And so we're not going to talk about the details really right now of what this upgrade was. I just wrote a newsletter on it last week. So, if you're a subscriber, you'll be able to grab that newsletter. But the point I'm trying to make here is that this Taproot upgrade makes Bitcoin really, really ready for institutional level smart contracts and institutional level DeFi apps on Bitcoin, okay? And so that's really important. So you have that as a technical undercurrent right now that's very bullish. The other bullish undercurrent we have, which contributes to higher prices over the medium to long term, is kind of a bullish regulatory front. And so I think a lot of people right now are very bearish on the regulations. They think, coming out with this regulation and that one is going to hinder, crypto's ability to flourish, and it's going to slow down growth. And I actually have the other opinion. I think that regulation, in order to get cryptocurrencies, in line, right, with regulation in the sense that institutions and pension funds and mutual funds and all sorts of funds, right, they need those guidelines in order to know how to interact with these assets. They need the guidelines and the framework in order to deploy capital, right? And so if you really do want an industry that moves beyond, right now we're currently at about $2 trillion in market cap. But if you want, a crypto market that is hundreds of trillions of dollars, right, and is running actually, the real world economy on the blockchain, it needs to have regulations, right? And so I think that what we're seeing again with Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of the Federal Reserve, right? So Jay Powell came out today, right, and he was saying that in a hearing, like in a congressional testimony that he was giving, one of the senators, Mr. Budd, he had asked Jay Powell, so we remember one of your statements a while ago, and you seem very bearish on cryptocurrencies. Will you be banning crypto? And Jerome Powell reiterated his stance that he misspoke. There will be no banning of cryptocurrencies. They want to foster innovation. And so literally when he gave that sort of speech, the market started to tick up even quicker, I noticed, and that was pretty cool. The fact that the market's digesting this sort of news in a positive way, right? And I think at the end of the day, the thing I want everybody to remember, during this market update is that regulation for stable coins and for all, for Bitcoin and for Ethereum and all these different assets, it's nothing to shy away from. It's nothing to be scared of. Again, we want to make sure the regulations are the right regulations. That's why it's so important to call your senators, right? Or to, be plugged in with the crypto community and all the different legislation that is being voted on, and to make sure that your voice is heard, and to make sure that at least, you're understanding what kinds of regulations are being proposed and on the table. And so, all in all, I'm still very bullish. And again, a lot of people are asking me, well, with sort of the uncertainty that's going on right now, how can you be a bull, Bryce? And I just say, look at the charts. Guys, the charts are very clearly coming out of a correction. And look at the narratives that are starting to form, right? Like a couple months ago, the narrative was like very, very bearish from every single regulator. Now you see Jerome Powell. And Jerome's not a regulator, but what he says has very, very, very broad-reaching effects. He's the chairman of the Federal Reserve. He's not on the board of the CFTC or the SEC or the IRS or whatever. But what he does, really does move markets, and it signals to a lot of the world and to a lot of the regulatory bodies of like how the Federal Reserve, which is the most, arguably one of the most important institutions in the world, how they view cryptocurrencies and all that kind of stuff. And so if he was really trying to lean on regulators to ban it, you would have seen it by now. And it's just impossible, right? Like, if you ban the ownership of crypto, or, it's just impossible. Like, it's not going to happen, because crypto is like a hydra, right? You cut off one head, it's going to grow 7 heads in its place. It's international, right? It's global. It's internet based. It's anybody could run a Bitcoin node. So it's impossible to, cut off and complete ownership. But they regulate the on-ramps and the off-ramps because, KYC, know your customer, right? And AML, anti-money laundering. Those are non-negotiable kind of like standpoints, bipartisan, right? Whether you're on the left or you're on the right, those are kind of just like, baseline sorts of things to keep, the Treasury funded and to keep Americans safe. KYC and AML, or so they say, right? So that's, the premise of it. And, kind of coming under these sorts of guidelines is nothing to be scared of. And, the market is still in a bull trend, right? If you zoom out, you look at a daily chart, we're still on a very clear trajectory up and to the right. And there's just lots of good developments going on behind the scenes. And so, again, I think there's lots of bullish price action as well in the DeFi coins, right? The decentralized finance movement that I'm very bullish on, that I've, full disclosure, I'm very exposed to the long side, and my affiliates are very exposed to the long side of the DeFi movement. And we really do think that we know the best coins in this sort of class. So that's why we put out the DeFi Profits kit. That's why we put out the DeFi Profits portfolio, as well as the Crypt Nation model portfolio and all the trade alerts and all that kind of stuff. So that's the market update. And if that sounded interesting and you don't already have, a subscription, and you're not already, getting top level crypto insights and analysis, and picks, right, with buy and sell targets, well, you're missing out, okay? You're very much missing out. And you could subscribe today to our service for $1, and you get plugged into a community of over 10,000 crypto investors who are coming together, sharing ideas day in and day out, chatting, posting forums, all sorts of stuff. But again, you could subscribe, hit that link, $1 for a 2-week trial, buy and sell trade alerts, exact prices, best coins, guys. Bryce Paul, out.